We acknowledge that we gather at Santa Rosa Junior College on the territorial traditional land of the Pomo people in Santa Rosa and the Coast Miwok people in Petaluma, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. This land acknowledgement calls us to commit to continuing to learn how to be better stewards of the land we inhabit.
Greetings and good afternoon. I'm Steve Page, Chair of the SRJC Foundation Board of Directors. On behalf of the Foundation and Santa Rosa Junior College, it is my pleasure to welcome you to the 28th Annual President's Address to the Community. Though the pandemic prevents us from gathering in person this year for our traditional lunch event, we are still excited to share some of the impressive achievements and important college updates with this short video. The success of SRJC and its students would not be possible without the generosity of our loyal donors. Your gifts, especially in these challenging times, provide life-changing opportunities for all SRJC students, their families, and the communities we share. Special thanks to our generous sponsors of today's presidential address. Your support is a tribute to the power of philanthropy and the promise of higher education. It is now my pleasure to introduce SRJC's fifth Superintendent and President, Dr. Frank Chong.
Welcome to the President's Address. I'm so glad to be shedding this for a few minutes, and I just want to welcome all of you to this year's address. And it took a pandemic and Klay Thompson's injury to knock the Warriors out of the playoffs, but I guarantee you they'll be back next year, as we will be at SRJC. It's been quite a hell of a year. And I just really want to say thank you to all of our board, faculty, staff, administrators, and students for all that you did to step up and get beyond the challenge of going remote, sheltering in place. And hopefully that's in the rearview mirror. And I'm really looking ahead to what's to come. And just to give you a brief update, this past year, we had to convert close to 95% of our classes to remote. We were able to stay live for our police, fire, all our dental and nursing programs, as well as our lab classes, our chemistry, anatomy, biology classes. So I want to thank everybody for making this happen. It wasn't an easy task, but we all stepped up and did that the way we do it at SRJC. And where things stand now is that we're going to go into summer school, and we're going to be pretty much primarily remote again, except for the essential courses in fire science and in police, as well as in the nursing programs. And then in the spring, we are planning on bringing everybody back. And I'm happy to say that we're on target. And during this time, we were able to not only let our community use the Petaluma site for testing and then later for vaccinations. And we've been vaccinating students and student athletes. We're back to having baseball games today. There's going to be a track meet today as well. So I'm looking forward to bringing our Bear Cubs back to campus. And you'll be seeing later in my presentation all the great work that's being done on all of our sites to improve our facilities for the coming century. It's just ironic that it was in the year that this college was founded in 1918 that the Spanish flu hit, and we had to close for 8 days. So it just seems like the more things change, the more they stay the same. But I'm very, very optimistic. I'm very, very encouraged that we've been doing the right thing. We sent out a student survey recently to find out how students think we were doing in the pandemic, and about 70% said we were doing an excellent job. So that's a reflection on the dedication of our staff, our faculty, and our administrators. So I just think that we are going to continue to move forward in this coming year. It's going to be a wonderful year, and we really want to appreciate our partnerships with the County Health Department, the Board of Supervisors, and we have some wonderful programs. We haven't been sitting in our pajamas smoking cigars and watching Oprah this past year. We've been really out there hustling getting more grants, getting more gifts, and it's really because of people like you in the audience that have supported us and helped us make it through so that our students can continue to pursue their dreams of going to college. Now sit back and relax and let me run you through all the great things we've done, the highlights that we have for you, and I think you'll be very pleasantly surprised about how much we were able to accomplish in spite of all that we went through this year. Thank you. While we faced many challenges this year, there's still a lot to celebrate at SRJC. I couldn't be prouder of our faculty, staff, administrators, students, and with the support of the board, we were able to transition to remote during the onset of the pandemic in a span of 2 weeks. During spring break, we provided professional development for all of our faculty and staff, and I really want to give kudos to our distance ed and IT staff for working with our faculty to transition over 2,000 sections to remote. The faculty and staff are dedicated and they worked beyond normal expectations, of course. We also moved many of our services online. The library tutorial center, we set up library drop-offs and that was safe for everybody because we were in shelter in place. Many events were also done virtually. The show must go on, and the theater, the choral, and the music performances continued online. And I was just amazed. I was watching Jerome Flegg and the orchestra perform and the symphony perform while I was in a cabin in Lake Tahoe. And of course, my acting debut, and It's a Wonderful Life. I really enjoyed spending time with my fellow actors, and but I think the reviews came in, and I'm going to keep my day job. I want to thank our Vice President Jane Saldana-Talley and all the instructional deans for their leadership, and department chairs for their leadership in helping us with this transition. Since March of 2020, SRJC's offered over 400 classes with in-person instruction. And I also want to thank Dr. Sandori Mays and Barbie Robinson with the County Health Department for approving protocols that we used in safely providing instruction. At our Public Safety Training Center, the Fire, Basic Police Academy, the Emergency Medical Techs, Administration of Justice, all those classes were offered live using safety protocols. Our STEM offerings, our lab classes, many of them needed for prerequisites for nursing and dental and pre-med, our biology, chemistry, anatomy, physiology, we were able to provide those classes both at the Santa Rosa and Petaluma class successfully and without incident. Also at Race Hall, our wonderful health science programs, our nursing assistant, medical assisting, radiology tech, dental hygiene, diet tech, they were all offered live in person and following safety protocols. Our nursing folks purchased remote technology that allowed our 2020 ADN class to graduate just as the pandemic was unfolding. And it really underscored how important the JC is in being the economic driver for healthcare careers throughout the county, whether it's at Kaiser or Sutter or Memorial or at our Sonoma County Health Centers. They were there, many of them volunteering, particularly during the time when the vaccines were available, and they also volunteered earlier in the phases when testing was needed. Furthermore, our wonderful kinesiology, athletics, and dance department, our online yoga certificate training continued, and conditioning for fall sports. Our baseball team is playing right now, and we've had some swim meets. So we're basically taking baby steps to get back to competition, and I anticipate hopefully by the fall we can have crowds and spectators to root on our Bear Cubs. In other areas such as the agriculture and natural resources, computer studies, culinary, earth and space science, child development, theater arts, welding, and drone technology, as things have gotten better, we've opened up more sections, and we're going to continue to do that as we go forward. I'm anticipating that in the fall we'll have many more in-person classes, including face-to-face lectures, and I'm predicting that close to 25 to 30% of all our classes will be in person as we start the fall semester. I want to also touch upon our student support services during the pandemic. As many of you know, many of our students work part-time or full-time, and many of them lost their jobs as a result of the shelter in place. So what do? We put cash in their hands. We provided students in need during the pandemic, and our foundation and financial aid department stepped up in partnership. They raised over $330,000 from donations that led to checks for 570 students with the community's help initially. When the CARES Act was passed, we were able to distribute $4.7 million to nearly 4,300 students since last spring, which included federal and state grants. And I'm pleased to report that our wonderful Doyle Scholarship Committee met, and for the first time, they've extended the Doyle to part-time and international students for the first time in SRJC's history. I just want to take a moment to thank the outgoing president of Exchange Bank, Gary Hardwick, who I've had the pleasure of working with since he has come on at Exchange Bank. He's been nothing but supportive of me and our students, and our special relationship with Exchange Bank will continue under the leadership of Troy Sanderson, whom I've gotten to know, and he's a great guy, and he's going to be a great partner to have as we move forward. Mental health services. We really recognize that all of us were stressed during this time, and it was really our students who had to bear the brunt of the pandemic. And I really want to thank Bert Epstein and Rebecca Norwick, both in our student health and mental health services, for their stepping up and providing the kind of support services our student needed remotely. We're also able to pass Measure O, the quarter-cent sales tax, to supplement the budget for mental health services, and I'm pleased to say that SRJC will be receiving annually about $800,000 a year to serve the mental health needs and unmet mental health needs of our students, and this is a great boost. I want to appreciate all of you who supported Measure O. Those funds will be put to good use. As many of you may not be aware, food insecurity is a big issue with many of our students. It's hard to study when you're hungry. So through the leadership of Robert Ethington, Genevieve Bertone, Hillary Zarate, and our student services team, we've been able to work with the Redwood Empire Food Bank to provide a food pantry and providing $50 grocery cards to more than $1,400 since fall of 2020. I participated in one of these giveaways, and people were so appreciative. So I want to thank the Redwood Empire Food Bank for all the great work that they've done during this difficult time. Laptops. Many of our students didn't have laptops, or ones that had the kind of capacity to do the type of work they needed. So we loaned out more than 700 laptops in the past year and created nearly 500 hotspots so that students could have connectivity. I'm proud to say we were able to also get a grant for our Hispanic serving institution. It was called Lanzamiento, and that means to launch. And this is a wonderful program that was for $2.5 million for 5 years that will help with the transfer and success rates of our Latino students. And we also have been providing additional support for underserved populations through learning communities, our wonderful EOPS program, and CalWorks. And we also have established a wonderful Welcome and Connect Center that supports our students as they come to try to register and get through all the bureaucracy of transitioning to college. I'm pleased to also report to all of you that our transfer rate and the numbers to Sonoma State has reached an all-time high. Sonoma State accepted 632 SRJC students last year compared to 563 the previous year. I really want to thank Vice President of Student Services, Dr. Pedro Avila, for his leadership, and Amy Merkel, our Transfer Center Coordinator, and her staff for really putting transfer at the head of the line, and the JC continues to be one of the leading transfer institutions, University of California, and we now have transferred students to both Harvard, Stanford, and many Ivy League schools. So thank you for that. One of my favorite days of the year is commencement or graduation, and we weren't able to do a large graduation where we have the front of Mendocino Avenue and the lawn filled with parents and families and graduates and cap and gown. But we did a great virtual graduation, and this year we were able to do a drive-through diploma distribution, and that was very, very successful. And you should have seen the faces of the students as I'm handing them diplomas. I just want to make sure that their parking brakes were on. I also wanted to note through Brad Davis's leadership, our Dean of Workforce Development, we granted more than 1,500 certificates in career education in areas like nursing, theater arts, public safety, business, and information technology. Our Latina X graduation, which we established about 7 years ago, continues to grow every year, and many families were there with Latinx students to celebrate, for many of them, first-generation college goers, and I expect to see their nephews and their younger brothers and sisters coming to the JC in the foreseeable future. And as all of you know, I like to look at demographics, and this past year was unlike any other. The enrollment for community colleges throughout California declined anywhere from 10 to 25%. SRJC enrollment declined about 20%, largely due to the fact that many of the classes that we would normally offer live, we weren't able to do that. But for the fall, we're only down 13% as we start transitioning more classes to live. So roughly 20,700 students continue their educational goals this spring, and a lot of it can be attributed to our SRJC for Free Tuition program. We awarded almost $11 million in free tuition through the SRJC Free for Free program since 2018, and we've increased the awards amount from $2.5 million to $4.7 million. So SRJC for Free basically covers the initial fees and tuition that are charged to our students. Data also shows that, according to Jeremy Smotherman, Dr. Smotherman is our new senior researcher and institution success. The data that he shared with me shows that students of color are more likely to enroll in full-time schedule than white students, and it's important considering racial justice and mental health are more of a concern for students of color who are balancing a full course schedule. So this is something that we are taking a serious look at, what type of services we need to provide to ensure their success. Also, the changing workforce is evolving, and we're continuing to change and to meet the needs of our students. We're developing new programs such as the forestry program, mitigation program, through the leadership of Benjamin Goldstein, our Dean of Culinary and Agriculture. This is a program that's going to award $500,000 to SRJC to develop a forestry management and mitigation program to address fire mitigation as we enter fire season. This year, we had, in my eyes, two pandemics, the COVID-19 pandemic and the racial justice pandemic with the murder of George Floyd. It has forced all of us to look deep into our souls to see what can we do to learn to be more anti-racist, and what can we do to build an SRJC that is accessible for all. And I want to acknowledge the work of BLAC, which stands for the Black Leadership Association Collective, an employee group of African American and Black employees, and our BSU, our Black Student Union, led by Delashay Carmona Benson. They have been working with us this entire year and have come up with some very, very important demands that will make the JC go a long way in developing a better environment for Black students and employees on campus. We've made some strides. We have a lot of work to do, but I'm pleased to say that we've been developing an Ethnic Studies department. We're developing a Black and African American Student Success Center. which we've raised money for through the leadership of Della Shea. We've raised over $100,000 to support that center. We're committed to hiring and funding a new Black full-time coordinator for the center, and we've already hired 2 part-time Black African-American therapists to work with our students. We're also able to, for our Umoja students, which are our Black student program, to receive Priority 2 registration, and this is going to go a long ways in ensuring that they get the classes they need to succeed. We've also renewed focus on promoting inclusive hiring and equivalency and retention practices that support diversity, and that's resulted in, I'm pleased to say, the recent hire of 2 outstanding Black African American faculty members. This commitment is ongoing. We're continuing to do more trainings, and I'm really proud of the work we've done. We have much more work to do. And it's also not just a Black issue. Many of you know that there's been a rising tide in anti-Asian violence, and we are addressing that through resolutions that the board has taken on. As an Asian American leader in the community, I feel this is something we have to combat with all our might. Also want to acknowledge the formation of a Native American Faculty Staff Association, as well as an Asian American Staff Association. So it's really important that these parts of the community are acknowledged and also valued, and that we will work collectively with them to create a JC for all. I also want to acknowledge the fine work of the Latino Faculty Staff Association, also known as LSFA, under the leadership of Lara Laque, its president, and they have worked very, very hard to help launch our Lanzamiento program, and also I'm pleased to announce that we are working with LSFA to establish Cesar Chavez as a formal holiday to acknowledge his contributions and outstanding work in the civil rights movement and in the labor movement in California and, of course, throughout the nation. I'm also pleased to announce that we've just recently completed the renovation and modernization of our SRJC Intercultural Center, including a mural, which is a visual representation of the center's vision. You know, a campus where Black, Indigenous people, people of color, queer, LGBTQ, and all marginalized communities thrive and pursue their dreams as authentic selves, liberated from all oppressive systems. I want to thank Melania Hernandez, coordinator of the Student Success, Student Life, Equity, and Engagement, for leading the selection of the committee process for the mural. We've also established a Sawubona Black Student Scholarship, and this I want to give a shout out to Sarah Lagos from the foundation and Senator Mike McGuire for spearheading this fundraiser that we did as part of his annual fundraiser. And thank you, Mike. You've always been with us as a former student body president. We're also working with student government leadership to support donors in launching the Sawubona Black African American Student Success Center. So I really implore, if you want to support diversity, if you want to support excellence at SRJC, consider donating to this recently launched scholarship. Thus far, we've currently raised more than $85,000 in the fund, and I'd like to get to at least $100,000 before the start of the fall semester. So get your checkbooks out. You know, there's a silver lining to everything. While we were in shelter in place and people couldn't come on campus in large numbers, it's cleared the way for our construction projects, on our Measure H projects, on all of our sites. We don't have to worry about backing into students and running over faculty, or disrupting classes with all the noise that comes with and dust that comes with construction. And I'm really excited about the Lindley Center for STEM Education, named after our longtime trustee, Terry Lindley. Very well deserved. It's under construction. It's going to be a 100,000 square foot, 3-story building. It's going to be modern. It's going to really reflect science in a forward-looking way. And it's designed to lead our students into the future with a state-of-the-art STEM facility. and it's scheduled to open for instruction in fall of 2023. Also, the silver lining is without rain, we're ahead of schedule, and so I still would rather have the rain and be on schedule, but it is what it is. Also, in the area of athletics, we've done a complete modernization of all of our athletic facilities, including a new baseball, softball, and soccer fields, a new aquatic center, including a 50-yard Olympic-sized pool will be put in place. And I told Jill McCormick, our swim coach, that I expect state championships one after the other once the pool is open. And I volunteered to jump into the pool to open it, but we're still negotiating about the Speedo. Our field house to house our football and track coach offices, as well as a team locker on the football field, is well underway. And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the modernization of Towser Gymnasium, which is an over 60-year-old building. When I had Mayor Willie Brown here on campus, he told me that George Moscone, the late George Moscone, the mayor of San Francisco, played basketball in Towser Gymnasium. So it just shows you how much work it needs to be done. It's currently under design and construction slated for 2023 completion. I'm also pleased to announce the district security upgrades. We're putting in electronic door locks on all of our exterior doors. We have emergency call towers on our grounds, as well as security cameras. And in this, unfortunately, in this day and age of active shooters, these are necessary precautions to take to ensure the safety for our students and our faculty. We also repurposed our Media Services Center at the first floor of Doyle Library, and it's a wonderful place for meetings and for students and new classrooms. So it's very, very exciting to continue to provide high-quality classrooms for our instructors and for our students. I'm also pleased to announce we have a new space for our Human Resources Department, which does all the recruiting, hiring, and professional development activities. That was formerly located in the Button Building on Armory Drive. We needed that space for our student housing, and now they're located right in the center of campus at the south end of Busman Hall. Well, you know, when we hired Jane Molyneux, we knew we needed to have a space that's befitting of someone of his quality and taste and aesthetics. And so we are also building a new foundation building, a 4,000 square foot building, and the construction will start by July of this year. And it's going to be a very functional building where all of you donors and alumni can come visit and really be part of our campus. There's great things happening and exciting things happening at the Petaluma campus as well. We've just completed our Welcome Center there. It was a $7 million renovation, and it's going to provide a place for our students to hang out, to study, to actually do laundry as well, and counseling facilities. It has an outdoor dining area with heating lamps, an outdoor stage for presentations. It's going to be a really cool place to hang out for our students who didn't have a place like that. And it shows that how you welcome students and for them to have a comfortable environment to hang out will increase retention. I'm also really excited about our science edition. Our science wing is a 2,500 square foot wing for chemistry and almost a 2,000 square foot anthropology wing. It's the third modular building under construction. It's a beautiful, long-lasting building, and I look forward to visiting there with our students. Our Petaluma campus is also home to the new Fashion Lab, and we're looking forward to great things out of our wonderful fashion faculty and students. I couldn't be more pleased and excited to let you know that the SRJC Construction Center, which is about a $10 million grant that we received from the U.S. Department of FEMA, as well as from the Sonoma County Economic Development Board and Tipping Point in San Francisco. This new center is projected to train hundreds of construction and related industry workers annually. It will support ongoing the county-wide recovery and rebuild efforts after the 2017 wildfires, and I'm very excited to be working with construction leaders as well as our union partners in making sure that this construction center will help with the rebuild of our county in the last three fires that we've had. And one of my favorite spots at SRJC, of course, is our wonderful Schoen Farm out in Forestville. We're doing a lot of work out there. We have a new roof for the pavilion. Our ag department's going to relocate to Schoen Farm. We built a little village out there of portable classrooms, and we're renovating the Porter Barn as well. A new produce processing facility to process all those delicious vegetables and fruits will be completed by the end of June. And I'm so excited to announce the generous multi-year grant of $500,000 from the Alvin J. Hansen Foundation, these funds will be distributed over 3 years, and they'll require a $500,000 match. Our Ag Trust Foundation, Ag Trust, is actively pursuing matching funds. I want to particularly thank Howard Dalton for leading that charge with Jay Molyneux and Benjamin Goldstein. I'm optimistic that even in the absence of the annual extravaganza event this year, donors will likely step up and support the future of ag education in Sonoma County. We're halfway there. We've raised about close to $250,000, and we need your help to get us to the finish line. So get those checkbook out. Let's support ag in Sonoma County. There's wonderful things happening also at the Public Safety Training Center in Windsor. We completed our multi-use building, a 45,000 square foot building to house additional public safety training labs. It's been in use since 2019, and this is made possible by the Measure H. We're also expanding, providing a new building which will be utilized by all of the Public Safety Training Center programs. It's to be completed by fall of 2023, and this is funded by state bonds with matching funds from Measure H. Notable, too, is the Fire Academy, which is so important today in Sonoma County and in California under the great leadership of Ken Sebastiani. He really needs a call out. We're days away from having all 40 of their recruits graduate. This has only been achieved once in the 50 years since the program's inception. So these remarkable men and women have also come together as a class to establish a scholarship to support a new student entering the Fire Academy. They're truly paving the way forward and a chance to serve our community. So far, they've raised more than $3,000 toward their $10,000 goal. So again, as you sit there and observe and think about where you may want to contribute, this is a most worthy ask to support our future firefighters. I also want to give you a progress report about our Southwest Center, which is located at the Wright School District. It's a bunch of portables that we've rented for many years that serves our English as a second language population, our immigrant population, particularly in Roseland. And we are working furiously to try to purchase a permanent home for the Southwest Center. And I'm hoping with fingers and toes crossed that we'll be able to get to the finish line in the next couple months and establish an SRJC Roseland campus. So stay tuned. Sustainability continues to be one of our core values, and under the leadership of David Lehman and faculty leaders like Sarah Jones, our sustainability committee has made a lot of recommendations, and we follow through. We now have the resources to do so through Measure H, and we're rebuilding our central plant, which will integrate the use of the geothermal field to support existing buildings like Burbank, Garcia, Annalee, and Forsyth Hall, and new buildings such as STEM and our student housing project. And it will significantly, and this is the part Kate Jolly likes, our Vice President of Business and Administrative Services, it will significantly reduce the cost of our utilities, our PG&E bills. LED light retrofit is now in the majority of all of our campuses. We have a microgrid at the Santa Rosa campus to complete it by the end of the summer, and that's to support the campus during emergency power shutdown episodes. So there's a lot of great things happening in sustainability. I always say it takes green to save green. Amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, we have been continuing the momentum to implement this dream of student housing at SRJC. It's going to be a $48 million construction project. It's going to focus on affordability, sustainability, and the residential experience. We're looking at 352 beds, mixed singles, doubles, and apartments. The rental rates will include utilities, Wi-Fi, and laundry. Sounds like a pretty good deal. It'll also include 12 study lounge spaces and a great room for events and activities. We hope to break ground by August of 2021, and we plan to open in fall of 2023. I want to give a special shout out to Elena Wall of the Kaiser Permanente Foundation locally for helping us secure a national $1 million grant to help towards the construction. As you know, construction costs are continuing to go up, but as we sell the bond, luckily interest rates are low enough to help cover some of the rising costs of construction. So we're confident we're going to be able to get this building up and complete by 2023. There's still many naming opportunities at a lot of variety of levels to help house students such as homeless students, foster youth, ex-offenders, people who normally can't afford to live in a dorm. We are raising money so that they can afford to have that experience and get the education that they so richly deserve. And you can find out more by talking to Jay or by visiting our foundation at santarosa.edu/housing. We simply could not have done what we did this past year without your generous support, and I really appreciate everything all of you in the audience have done to support us. And at this time, I really want to acknowledge the Platinum sponsors, Barbara Casecci and Tony Crabb, Greystone Consulting, Keysight Technologies, Sonoma Raceway, Speed Pro Imaging, the Press Democrat, and our gold sponsors, IBEW Local 5551, Jeff Kunde, SRJC Trustee, Beth and Bob Salisbury, TLCD Architecture, Shirley and Bill Ward. Our silver sponsors, the Community Foundation of Sonoma County, Hall and Bartley Architects, Jay Molino and Matt Malik, Susie and Mike Marzalek, Teresa and Sam Norton, and our bronze sponsors, North Bay Leadership Council, Bill Traverso. And finally, I want to thank you all for demonstrating the power of philanthropy and the promise of higher education. And I'll close with a quote from Joe Biden when I was working in the Obama administration. He said to a group of us, you know, education's about turning mirrors into windows. And that's what you do with your support for our students. You help turn mirrors into windows for them. And now they get the chance to look at the beautiful landscape of Sonoma County. I'll see you next year at the President's Medallion in 2022. Go Bear Cubs!